Hi, so I am reading a Rich Dad Poor Dad first lesson. Already I read an introduction. Now I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Okay, wait a second. There is a difference between being poor and being broke. Broke is temporary, poor is external. This is a content of Rich Dad Poor Dad book. This is a lesson of Robert Frost. That poem also noted in Rich Dad Poor Dad. So, chapter 1. The rich don't work for money. Okay, the rich don't work for money. The poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have money, work for them. Okay, the poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have money, work for them. Dad, can you tell me how to get rich? A person ask the dad to, can you tell me how to get rich? My dad, put down put on the evening paper. Why do you want to get rich, son? Because today Jimmy's mom drove up in their new Cadillac and they were going to their beach house. Going to for the beach house for the weekend. He took three of his friends, but Mike and I were not invited. They told us we were not invited because we were poor kids. They did. My dad asked incredulously. Yeah, they did. I replied in a hurt tone. My dad silently shook his head, pushed his glasses at the bridge of his nose, and went back to reading the paper. I stood waiting for an answer. The year was 1956. I was 9 years old. This book written by written Mal by 9 years old boy. By some twist of fate, I attend the same public school where the rich people send their kids. The old boy attend the same school where the rich people send their kids. Okay, we were primarily a sugar plantation town. The managers of the plantation and the other affluent people, such as doctors, business owners, and bankers, send their children to the elementary school after grade 6. Their children, their children were generally sent off to private schools because my family lived on one side of the street. I went to the school. Had I lived on the other side of the street, I would have gone to a different school with kids from families most like mine. After grade 6, these kids and these kids and I would go to the public school, intermediate and high school. Intermediate and high school. There was no private school for them for me. My dad finally put down the paper. I could tell he was thinking. Well, son, he began slowly. If you want to be rich, you have to learn to make money. Okay. This point. Well, son, he began slowly. Good sign. He began slowly. If you want to be rich, you have to make money. How do I make money? I asked. Yes, Dad told to son, well, son, he began slowly. If you want to be rich, you have to learn to make money. How do I make money? I asked, how do I make money? Well, use your head, son. He said, smiling. Even then, I knew that really meant that's all I'm going to tell you, or I don't know the answer. So don't embarrass me. A partnership is formed. The next morning, I told my best friend Mike uh, what my dad had said as best as I could tell. Mike and I were the only poor kids in the school. Mike was also in the school by a twisted fate. Someone had drawn a jog in the line for the school district, and we would up in school with the rich kids. We are not really poor, but we felt as if we were because all the other boys had new baseball gloves, new bicycles, new everything. My mom and dad provided us with the basic like food, shelter, and clothes. But that was about it. My dad used to say, if you want something, work for it. If you want something, work for it. We wanted things, but there was not much work available for 9 years old boys. So what do we do to make money? So what do we do to make money? My the children asked. I don't know. I said, but do you want to make do you want my partner? He's agreed, and so on that Saturday morning, Mike become my best business partner. We spent all morning coming up with ideas and how to make money. Absolutely, we talking about all the cool guys and Jimmy beach house having fun. It hurt a little, but that hurt was good because it inspired us to keep thinking of a way to make money. Finally, that afternoon, a bolt of lightning struck. It was it was an Mike idea uh, got from a science book he had read. Accidentally, we shook hands, and the partnership now had a business. Now, a partnership had a business. For the next several weeks, Mike and I ran around our neighborhood, knocking on the doors and asking our neighbors if they would save their toothpaste tubes for us. With puzzled looks, most adults consented with a smile. Some asked us what we are doing, to which we replied, "We can't tell you. It's business secret." Some kids asked, what are you doing?" So, they tell, "It's my business secret." Okay, good. My mom grew distressed as the week wore on. We selected a site next to her washing machine as the place we would stockpile our raw materials. In a brown cardboard box that at one time held castor bottles. Our little pile of used toothpaste tubes began to borrow. Finally, my mom put her foot down. The sight of her neighbor's messy, crumpled used toothpaste tubes had got her to her. "What are you doing, boys?" Mom said. "What are you doing, boys?" She asked, and I don't want to hear again. "That is my business secret. Do something with this mess, or I'm going to throw it up." And I am going to throw it out, Mike. And I pleaded and begged, explaining that we would soon having enough, and then we would be in production. This line is important. We informed her that we were waiting on a couple of neighbors to finish their toothpaste so we could have their tubes. Mom granted us 1 week extension. The date to begin productions was moved up, and the pressure was on. My first partnership was already being threatened with an eviction notice by my own mom. It became Mike's job to tell their neighbors to quickly use up their toothpaste, saying their dentist wanted them to brush more often anyway. I began to put together the production line. One day, my dad drove up with a friend to see two nine two 9 years old boy in the driveway. with a production line operating at a full speed. There was nine powder. There was fine white powder everywhere. On a long table were small milk cartons from school, and our family's hibachi grill was glowing with red hot coals at maximum heat. Dad walked up consciously, having to the park the car at the base of the driveway since the production line blocked the carport. As he and his friend got closer, they saw a steel pot sitting sitting on the top of the coals in which toothpaste tubes were being melted down. In those days, toothpaste did not come in plastic tubes. The tubes were made of lead, so once the paint was burned off, the tubes were dropped in the small steel pot. They melted until they become liquid, and with my mom pulled pot holders, we powdered the leads through a small hole in the top of the milk cartons. The milk cartons were filled with plaster of Paris, so white powder was everywhere. In my haste, I had knocked the bag over, and the entire area looked like had been hit by a snowstorm. The milk cartons were the outer containers, a plaster of Paris molds. My dad and his friend watched as we carefully powdered and the mountain lead through a small hole in the top of plaster of Paris cube. Careful, my dad said. I nodded without looking up. Finally, once pouring, P-O-U-R-I-N-G, pouring was through, I put the steel pot down and smiled at my dad. What are you doing, boys? What are you boys doing? He asked with a casual smile. We are doing what you told me to. We are going to be rich, I said. Yep, said Mike, grinning. Nobody is dad. We are partners. And want is those plaster molds? My dad asked what. I said, this should be a good batch. With a small hammer, I taped at the seal that divided the cube in half. Cautiously, I pulled up the top half of the plaster mold, and a lead nickel fell out. Oh no, my dad exclaimed, you are castling nickels of, of lead. That's right. Mike said we are doing as you told us to do. We are making money. My dad friends and burst into laughter. My dad smiled, shook his head. Along with a fire and a box of spent toothpaste tubes, in front of him were two little boys covered with white dust, smiling from year to year. He asked us to put everything down and sit with him on the of house, front step of house with a smile. He gently explained what the word counterfeiting meant. Our dream were dashed. You mean this is illegal? Asked Mike is a querying voice. Let them go. My dad's friend said they might be developing a natural talent. My dad glared at him. Yes, it's illegal. My dad said gently, but you boys have so great creativity and original thought. Keep going. I'm really proud of you. Disappointed. Mike and I sat in silence for about 20 minutes before we began clean up our mess. The business was over on opening day. Sweeping the powder up, I looked at Mike and said, I guess Jimmy and his friends are right. We are poor. My father was just leaving as I said that. Boys, he said, you are only poor if you give up. Boys, said, you are only poor if you give up. The most important thing is that you did something. Most people only talk and dream of getting rich. You have done something. I am very proud of the two of you. I will say it again. Keep going, keep going. Don't quit. I stood there is I stood there in silence. They were nice words, but we still did not work. Know what to do. Know what to do. So how come you are not rich? Dad asked. Dad, I asked. Because I choose to be an school teacher. School teachers really don't think about being rich. We just like to teach. I School teachers really don't think about being rich. We just like to teach. I wish I could help you, but I really don't want to know how to make money. I turned and continued our cleanup. I know, said my dad. If you guys want to learn how to be rich, don't ask me. Talk to your dad, Mike. My dad asked Mike with a searched up face. Yeah, your dad, repeated my dad with a smile. Your dad and I have the same banker, and he raves about your father. He's told me several times that your father is brilliant and it comes to make money. My dad. Mike asked again in disbelief. Then how come to want nice car, nice house like the rich kids at school? A nice car and nice house don't necessarily mean you are rich or you know how to make money. My dad replied, Jimmy's dad's work for the sugar plantation. He is not much different for me. He works for a company and I work for the government. The companies buy the car for him. The sugar company is financial trouble and Jimmy dad may soon have nothing. Your dad is different, Mike. He seems to building an empire and I suppose in a few years he will be very rich man. With that, Mike, I got excited again with new vigor. We began cleaning up the mess cast by our now defunct first business. As we were cleaning, we made plans for how and when to talk to Mike's dad. The problem was that Mike's dad worked a long hour and often did not come home until late. His father owned a warehouse and a construction company, a chain of stores, and three restaurants. It was the restaurants that kept him out late. Mike caught the bus home after he had finished cleaning up. He was going to talk to his dad when he got home the night and asked him if he would teach how to become rich. Mike promised to call us soon, so he had talked to his dad. Even even it was late. The phone rang at 8:30 p.m. Okay, I said next Saturday. I put the phone down. Mike said and agreed to meet with us. On Saturday, I got the 7:30 a.m. bus the poor side of town. The essence being now. Mike and I met with his dad that morning at 8 o'clock. He was already busy, having at work for more than hour. He construction supervisor was just leaving in his pickup truck. As I walked up to simple, small, and TDO, Mike meet at Mike meet me at the door. Dad's on the phone, and he said to wait on the back porch. Mike said, "Oh," as I opened the door. The old wooden floor, the old wooden floor creaked as I stepped across the threshold of the egging house. There was a cheap mat just inside the door. The mat was there to hide the years of wear from countless footsteps that the floor has supported, also clean if needed to be replaced. I felt claustrophobic as I entered the narrow living room that was filled with old, musty, overstuffed furniture that today would be collector's items. Sitting on the couch were two women, both little older than my mom. Across from the woman sat a man worksman class. He works khaki slacks and khaki shirt neatly but without starch and polished work boots. He was about 10 years older than my dad. They smiled as Mike and I walked past them towards the back porch. I smelled back chilly. Who were those people? I asked. Oh, they work for my dad. The older man runs his warehouse, and the women are the managers of the restaurant. And as you arrived, you saw the construction supervisor who is working on a road project about 50 miles from here. This other supervisor who is building a track of houses left before you got there. Does thing go on all time? I asked. Not always, but good often. Cute often, said Mike, smiling as he pulled up a chair. Sit down next to me. I asked my dad if he would teach us to make money. Mike said. Oh, and what did he said to that? Asked with cautious curiously. Well, he had a funny look and on his face at first, and then he said he would make us an offer. Oh, I said, rocking my chair back against the wall. I sat there perched on two rear legs of the chair. Mike did the same thing. Do you know what the offer is? I asked. No, but we'll soon find out. Suddenly, Mike's dad brushed the request screen door onto the porch. Mike had jumped to our feet, not out expect, but because we were startled. Ready, boys? He asked us. He pulled up a chair to sit down with us. Mike and two boys make money and doing well. We nodded our heads as we pulled our chair away from the wall to sit in to sit in front of him. He was a big man, about 6 feet tall and 200 pounds. My dad was taller, about the same height, and 5 years older than my dad. And they sort of looked alike. Thought not of the same ethnic makeup. Maybe their energy was similar. Mike says you want to learn to make money. Is it correct, Robert? I nodded my head quickly, but with a little trepidation. He had a lot of power behind his words and smile. Okay, here's my offer. I'll teach you, but I want to classroom style. You work for me. I'll teach you. You don't work for me. I won't teach you. I can teach you faster if you work. I'm wasting my time. If you just want to sit and listening like you do in school, that's my offer. Take it or leave it. May I ask a question first? I asked. No, take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. I have got too much work to do to waste my time. If you can't make up your mind illegally, then you will never learn to make money anyway. Opportunity, like, import. Wait a second. Opportunities come and go. Being able to know when to make a quick decision is an important skill. What it is. You have the opportunity that you asked for. School is beginning or it's over in 10 seconds. Mike's dad said, teasing smile. Take it, I said. Take it, said Mike. Good, said Mike's dad. Mr. Martin will be by in 10 minutes after I'm through with her. You'll ride with her too, my separate, and you can be working. I'll pay you 10 cents an hours, and you'll work 3 hours every Saturday. But I have a softball game today. I said. Mike's dad lowered his voice to stone tone. Take it or leave it, he said. I'll take it. I replied, choosing to work and learn instead of playing. 30 cents later. By 9 a.m. the day I were working for Mrs. Martin, she was a kind of patient woman. She always said that Mike, I reminded her of her town grown sons, although kind she believed in hard work and kept us moving. We spent 3 hours talking, canned good of the serves, brushing can each can with a feather duster to get the dust off, and then restacking them neatly. It was extremely boring work. Mike's dad, Mike's dad, whom called the rich dad, called the rich dad, owned 9 of the little superetas, each with a large parking lot. They were the early version of the 7-Eleven convenience stores, little neighborhood grocery stores where people bought items such as milk, bread, butter, and cigarettes. The problem was that this Hawaii before air conditioning was widely used, and the store could not close their doors because of the heat. On two sides of the store, the doors had to be wide open to the road and parking a lot. Every time a car drove by or pulled into the parking lot, dust would swell and settle in the store. We knew we had a job as long as there was no air conditioning. For 3 weeks, Mike, I reported Mr. Martin and worked 3 hours. By noon, our work was over, and she dropped 3 little dimes in each of our hands. Now, even at the of 9, at the age of 9, wait a second. In the mid 1950s, 30 cents was not too exciting. Comic books are cost 10 cents back then. So I usually spend my money on comic books and went to home By Wednesday, of the fourth week, I was ready to quit. I had agreed to work only because I wanted to learn how to make money from my dad, and now I was slave for 10 cents an hour. On top of that, I had not seen Mike's dad since that first Saturday. I'm quitting. I told Mike at lunchtime. School was boring, and now I did not even have my Saturdays to look forward to. But it was the 30 cents that really got me this time. Mike smiled. What are you laughing at? I asked with anger and frustration. Dad said this would happen. He said meet with him when you are ready to meet with him. What? I said indignantly. He's being waiting for me to get fed up. Sort of. Mike said, Dad's kind of different. He does not teach like your dad. Your mom and dad lecture a lot. My dad is quite, and a man of few words. Man of few words. You just wait till this Saturday. I will tell him up you are ready. You mean I have been set up? No, not really. But maybe Dad will explain on Saturday. Waiting in the line on Saturday, I was ready to face Mike's dad. Even my real dad was angry with him. My real dad, the one I call the poor one, thought that my rich dad was violating child labor laws and should be investigated. My educated poor dad told me to demand what I deserve, at least 25 cents an hour. My poor dad told me that if I did not get a rise, I was quite humiliated. You don't need that damned job anyway, said my poor dad with indignation. At 8 o'clock Saturday morning, we walked through the doors. Mike's house. Mike's dad opened it. Take a seat and wait in line, he said as I entered. He turned and disappeared into little office next to a bedroom. I looked around the room. I did not see Mike anywhere, feeling awkward. I casually sat down next to the same two women who were there 4 weeks earlier. They smiled and sit down the coach to make room for me. 45 minutes went by and I was steaming. The two women had met with him and left 30 minutes earlier. An old gentleman was in there for 20 minutes and was also gone. The house was empty and here I sat in a musty dark living room, a beautiful sunny Hawaii day, waiting to talk cheapskate who exploited children. I could hear him rustling around the office, taking on the phone and ignoring me. I was ready to talk. I was ready to walk out, but for some reason I stayed. Finally, 15 minutes later, exactly 9 o'clock, which Rich Dad walked out of his office, said nothing, and signaled with his hand for me to enter. I understand you want rice or you are going to quit. Understand you want a rice or going to quit. Rich Dad said. He swillowed in his office chair. Well, you are not keeping your end of bargain. End of the bargain. I blurted out nearly in tears. I was really fighting for me. Confirm of grow up. You said that you would teach me if I worked for you. Well, I work for you. I work for hard. I have given up my baseball games to work for you. But you have not kept your word. You have not taught me anything. Wait a second. A nice line of and you have not taught me anything. You are a crook like everyone towns think you are. You are greedy, you want all the money and don't care of your employees. You made me wait and don't show me any respect. I am only a little boy, but I deserve to be treated better. Rich dad rocked back in his wheelchair, rocked back, hands up to his chin, and he started at me. Not bad, he said. In less than a month, you sound like most of my employees. What I asked, not understanding what he was saying. I continued with my grievance. I thought you were going to keep your end of bargaining and teach me. Instead, instead you want to torture me. That girl, the silly girl, I am teaching you. Rich dad said quietly, I am teaching you. What have you taught me? Nothing. I said angrily. என்ன பத்தி என்ன ஓ you have not even talked to me once since I agreed to work for peanuts. 10 cents an hour. I should notify the government about you. We have child labor laws. You know, my dad's works for the government. You know, wow, said Rich Dad. Now you sound just like most of the people who used to work for me. People I have either fired who have quit. So what do you have to say? I demanded, feeling pretty brave for a little kid. You lied to me. I have worked for you. If you have not kept your word, you have not taught me anything. How do you know that I have not taught you anything? I asked Richard calmly. Well, you have never talked to me. I have worked for 3 weeks. I have not talked to me. I said with a pout. Does teaching mean talking or a lecture? Richard asked. Well, yes, I replied. That's how you teach you in school, he said, smiling. But that is not how life teaches you. And I would say that life is best teachers of all. Life is best teachers of all. Most of the time, life does not talk to you. It just sort of pushes you around. Each push is life saying, "Wake up! There's something I want you to learn." What is the man talking about? I asked myself silently. Life pushing me around was life talking to me. Now I knew I had to quit my job. I was talking to someone who needed to lock it up. If you learn life lessons, you will do well. If not, life will just continue push you around. People do things. Some just let life push them around. Others get angry and push back, but they push back against their boss or their job or their husband or wife. They do not know it's life that pushing. I had no idea what he was talking about. Life pushes all of around. Some people give up and others fight. A few learns the lesson and move on. They welcome life pushing them around. To these few people means needed to want to learn something. They learn and move on. Most quit and few signed. You fight. You restarted, stood and weakly wooden window that needed repair. If you learn this lesson, you will grow into a wise, wealthy, and happy young man. If you don't, you will spend your life blaming a job, low pay, or your boss for your problem. You will live life always hoping for the big break that will solve all your money problems. Rista looked over at me. She said it was if I was still listening. His eyes met mine. We started each other communicating. Thought our eyes. Finally, I looked away. Once I had observed his message, I knew he was right. I am blaming him, and I did not. I did ask to learn. I was fighting. Restart continued. Or if you are the kind of person who has I worked 3 weeks. Thought away. Finally, I looked fighting. You are a kind of person who has no guts. You just give up every time life pushes you. So if you are not that kind of person, you like all your life playing it safe, doing the right things, saving yourself for some event that never happens. Then you die a boring old man. You will have a lot of friends who really like you because you are such a nice hardworking guy. But the truth is that you let life push into submission. Deep word down, were terrified of taking risk. You really wanted to win, but the fear of losing was greater than the excitement of winning. Deep inside, you and only you will know. You did not go for it. You choose to play it safe. Our eyes meet again. You have been pushing me around. I asked, some people might say, smile rich dad. I would say that I just gave you a taste of life. What taste of life? I asked, still angry, but now curious. I ready to learn. You boys are the first people who have ever asked to me. Teach them how to make money. I have more than 150 employees and not them has asked me what I know about money. They ask me for a job and a paycheck, but never to teach them about money. So most will spend the best years of a life working for money, not really understanding what is they are working for. I say they are listening internally. So when Mike told me he wanted to learn how to make money, I decided to design a course that mirrored real life. I could not talk until I was blue in the face, but you would not hear a thing. So I decided to let life push you around a bit so you could hear me. That's why I only paid you 10 cents. So what is the lesson I learned from working for only 10 cents a hour? I asked that you cheap and exploit your workers. Restart, rocked back and laughed early. Finally, he said, you best change your point of view. Stop blaming me thinking I am the problem. If you think I am the problem, then you have to change me. If I realize you are the problem, then you can change yourself, learn something and grow, sir. Most people want everyone else in the world to change but themselves. Let me tell you, it's easier to change yourself than everyone else. I don't understand, I said. Don't blame me for your problems, Rich Dad said. Don't blame me for your problem. Growing impatient, but you only pay me 10 cents. So what are you learning? Rich Dad asked, smiling, and that you are cheap. I said with a silly grain. See, you think I am the problem, said Rich Dad, but you are. Well, keep that attitude and you'll learn nothing. Keep the attitude that I am the problem and what choice to do have. Well, if you don't pay me more or show me more, the expert and teach me, I'll quit. Well, put a restart said, and that exactly what most people do. They quit and go looking for another job, a better opportunity and a higher pay. I actually think that this will solve the problem. I most cases I want So what should I do? I asked. Just take these measly 10 cents or her smile. Reach that smiled. And what other people do? But they all are but that's all they do. Waiting for rises thinking that more money will solve their problems. Most just accept it. And some take a sign job working harder. But again accept a small paycheck. I sat starting at the floor, beginning to understand lesson Rich Dad was presenting. I could sense it was a taste of life. Finally, I looked up and asked, "So, what will you solve this problem?" This he said, leaning forward in his chair and tapping me gently on the head. This stuff between your ears. It was a moment that Rich Dad shared the pivot point of view separated him for his employees and my poor dad, and I led him to eventually become one of the richest men in Hawaii, while my highly educated but poor dad struggled financially all of his life. It was a singular point of view that made all of the difference over a lifetime. Richard explained this point of view over and over, which I call lesson number one: the poor and the middle class work for money. Oh, I call lesson number one: the poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them. Money for them. Work for them. And the bright Saturday morning, I learned completely different point of view from what I had been taught by my poor dad. At the age of 9, I understood that both dads wanted me to learn. Both dads encouraged me to study, but not the same thing. My highly educated dad recommended that I do what he did. Son, I wanted you to study hard, get group grades, so you can find a safe, secure job with my big company, and make sure it has an excellent benefit. My rich dad wanted to me learn how money works, so I could make it work for me. Money work for me. This lesson I would learn through life with his guidance, not because of a classroom. My rich dad continued my first lesson. I'm glad you got angry about working for 10 cents. If you had not got angry and I had simply accepted it, I would have to tell you that I could not teach you. And I burning desire anger with a big part of that formula was passion is a anger and love combined. When it comes to money, most people want to play it safe and feel secure. So passion does not direct them, fear does. So is that why they are take jobs with low pay? I asked. Yes, said Rich Dad. Some people say I exploit people because I don't pay as much as a sugar plantation or the government. I say the people exploit themselves. It's their fear, not mine. Fear, not mine. But I don't. You feel you should pay them more? I asked. I don't have to. And besides, more money will not solve their problems. Just look at your dad. He makes a lot of money and he still can pay bills. Most people given more money. Only I get more debt. So that's why 10 cent and hours. I said smiling. It's parts of the lesson. Let's write. Smile, rich dad. You sweet dad. Your dad went to school, excellent education, so could get a highest paying job. Money problems because he never learned anything about money in school. On top of that, he believes in working for money, and you don't ask it. I asked, no, not really, said his dad. If you want to learn work for money, work for money, then stay in school. That's a great place to learn to do that. But if you want to learn how to have money work for you, then I will teach you that. But only if you want to learn. Would not everyone want to learn that? I ask no restarted simply because a easier lesson to work for money, especially fear, primary emotion discussed. I don't understand. I said with a phone. Don't worry about that for now. Don't worry about for the now. Just know that it's a fear that keeps most people working at a job. The fear of not paying their bills, the fear of being feared, the fear of not having enough money, and the fear of starting over. That's price of studying to learn a professional or trade, and then working for money. Most people become a slave to money and then get angry with their boss. Learning to have money work for you. Money work for, don't work for money. Money work for you. It's a completely different course of study. I asked absolutely, restarted, answered absolutely. Absolutely. We sat in silence on that beautiful Hawaii Saturday morning. My friends had just started a little league baseball, but for some reason I was now thankful I had decided to work for 10 cents. However, I sensed that I was learning something my friend would not learn in school. Ready to learn? Asked his dad. Absolutely, I said with a grin. Have kept my promise. I have been teaching you from afar. My rich dad said, I have gotten taste 9 years old. You have gotten taste what I feel to work for money. Just multiply your last month by 50 years, and you will have an idea of what most people spend their life doing. If doing, I don't understand. I said, how did you feel waiting in a line to see me? Wants to get hired and wants to ask for money. Terrible, I said, if you choose to work for money, that is what life will be like, said Rich Dad. And how did you feel when Midas Martin dropped the Demis hand for 3 hours of work? Felt like was not enough. I seemed like nothing. I was disappointed. I said, and that is how most employees feels when they look at the paychecks, especially after all the tax and the deduction are taken out. At least you got 100%. You mean most workers don't get paid everything? I asked with amazement. Heavens, no, said Rich Dad. The governments always take its share first. How do they do that? I asked. Taxes, said Rich Dad. Taxes, even you earn, you taxed when you spend, they are taxed when you save, you are taxed when you die. Why people let the government to do that them? The rich dad don't, said Rich Dad with a smile. The poor and middle class do. I'll bet that learn more than your dad. Yet he pays more in taxes. He can that be asked at my age? That made no sense to me. Why would someone let the government to learn? Rich Dad rocked slowly and silently in his chair. Silently in his chair, just looking at me, ready to learn. He asked. I nodded. My head slowly. As I said, there is a lot to learn. Learning how to have money work for you is a lifetime study. Most people go to college for 4 years under education. And I already know that my study of money will be continued over my lifetime, simply because the more I found out, the more I found out, I need to know. Most people never study the subject, then go to work, get their paycheck, balance their checkbooks, and that is the wonder how money problems they think that more money will solve the problems. Realize the lack of financial education that is the problem. So my dad has a tax problem, so because he does not understand money, I asked confused, look, set restart. Taxes are just one small section of learning how to have money work for you. Today I just wanted to find out if you still having the passion to learn about money. Most people don't. They want to go school, learn a profession, having fun at their works, and earn a lot. Now get back. Good. Announced my head. Good, said Rista. I pay you nothing. You heard me. You said you wanted to learn. If you wanted to learn this, you go up a woman like the two women and an older man sitting in the living room working for money and hoping I don't fire them. I like your dad, hearing lots of money only be to debt to his eyeballs, hoping more money will solve the problems. If that what you want, enough pay, quit, and go looking for another job. Go looking for another job. Richard tapped me on the head. Use this. He said, if you use it well, you will soon thank me for giving you opportunity and you will grow into rich man. I stood there, still not believing that raw deals I was handed. I came to ask for a rise, and somehow I was instead working for nothing. Rista taped me on the head again and said, use this. Now get lesson 1. There is don't work for money. The rich. Yeah, it's a lesson 1. There is don't work for money. Okay, thank you. It will continue. I have a break for this line. There are more pages at the lesson 1, so I kept it. I will continue. Okay. There is a guys. I will record all these books. All this Restart Poor Dad book inspired me, so I recorded this and uploaded this. So don't skip. If you like, I'm reading my reading strategy. Please subscribe. Yeah, already 1 hour first. I I can put more efforts to upload videos after reading this book. Okay. This book was an important one to how to develop yourself and myself. So I like to read this book. You understand? You understand? You first you don't skip and hear the full book. You will understand how to live. You don't want to go schools. You don't want to. School is not a school is school is not a life. Uh, don't work for money. Money work for you. This is a quite of this first lesson. First lesson is not completed. I completed 3/4, 1/2. I'm completed 1/2 pages. I will continue this. Thank you.